happening. Here we go. Here we go. Check one, check two, check one, check two. Yeah. So, was outside in the park with the kids, and my mate turned up with his skateboards and decided to give my girls a lesson. The madness of the whole situation is that in a seemingly arbitrary way, things change from day to day. Right? Tuesday you can't, but Wednesday you can. But Thursday you can't again. Do you comprehend? Do you begin to see the insanity of reality? Anyway, watching my girls have lessons on skateboards. In fact, for any parent watching their kids do that activity, it's pretty scary, really. Kid, skateboard, concrete, body parts, lean the wrong way, right? But then accidents are part of life, right? If we don't let our kids have these experiences, we just hinder their progress. And so we have to let them have them. And there I was standing with one of my girls, holding her so that she doesn't fall over, which of course is also a false sense of security, because then she'll lean thinking you're there, and if you're not there she'll fall off, right? Meanwhile, behind me, my other daughter is going zoom, right past me on a skateboard. So used to skateboard myself when I was a kid. Really messes up your knees. Messes up your knees. Really does. Had to stop eventually. If I keep looking the other way here and get distracted, it's because there's a draft going through the flat and it's causing the doors to open and close. And then, thinking about other things, right? Thinking about other things. Oh look, there's guys down the beach on their bikes because they think they can get away with it. Yeah, and that's a lot of what life is, right? Getting away with stuff. But you've got to be intelligent about how you do it. So my mate, or let's just say someone I know, or let's just say somebody, shall we, left some skateboarding pipes and ramps and boxes in the park. Oops. Oops, as all the kids jump on their boards and go down to the park and have fun. Like they should be having, basically. That's what childhood should be. It shouldn't be living in fear and following rules and worrying, because that's just not helpful, not productive. Society is not going to progress in any relevant way if we do that to the kids. Have you seen the pictures? Have you seen the rules? We might get to the rules today, the rules for the schools. We might get that far. We will see. We will see. Should we dive in? You want to know the truth? I started this recording the other day. I started to do a recording and I just stopped it after 10 minutes. I was like, this just can't do it. Just the information was just way over the top. This is stuff which is readily available to people on the internet. I was trying to think how I would comment or coherently express what I was reading, and I don't know if sometimes when you read too much, that becomes a problem. What's that song? It wasn't that I knew too little, it was just that I knew too much. Something like that. Yeah. That's the way it goes, I suppose. Let's trawl through. And when I started this series, I thought I'd maybe do this for a week or something. And now we're like 30, way over 30 plus episodes in, and it's not getting better. It's just getting worse. Right? I mean, think about that on the grander scheme or scale of things. It's not actually getting better, it's just getting worse. Right? The powers that be have their hands around the necks of the living. And where is there to go, right? If the West falls, if Europe falls, if Britain falls, if America falls, if Canada falls, where can you escape to? Nowhere else to go. Nowhere left to go. Anyway, for those that haven't yet been banned from Facebook, and at least half the people I know have been banned or blocked, or to a certain extent even had false information printed about them. I mean, it's insane, right? It's funny how the media rallies against fake news, but that's all the government does on a day-to-day basis, is essentially pump out fake news, right? They're never held accountable for it. It's as if they know, right? They know that it's their job just to keep things moving, except they haven't kept anything moving at all, have they? They shut everything down. Anyway, for those interested, Messenger Rooms is now available as a Facebook Messenger function. The security issues of this system are huge, but that doesn't bother me. It might be a way for people to actually share more information. It might be. We'll see. So we'll see how it fits in the future to the market of Skypes and Zooms and Hangouts and other systems and functions available. What's the other one? Teams. I think it's called Teams, right? NATURALNEWS has been basically completely blocked from FB, right? Text reads, urgent request, Natural News and Bright Eon will not survive. Shortly after users uploaded the pandemic video to Bright Eon featuring Dr. Judy Mikovits a pioneering woman and scientist, Facebook blacklisted the sharing of all links from naturalnews.com or brighteon.com. There's not much more else to say. I mean, she's an eloquently spoken woman with fact-based history, and she takes a powerful stance, and the system are scared. The system are scared because she's an empowered woman, basically. Meanwhile, if you want to, you can jump to youtube.com. You can watch fourth grader reaction to new school rules, where one parent filmed her daughter's reaction to the new school rules. Now, you can find the school rules posted somewhere on my Facebook stream, or you can go into images and just go through the images. It's a horror show. I mean, if everything that school should be, if you just invert it all, these are the new rules. These are the new rules. This is the new world. This is what children are going to grow up in. This is this is the best reason ever to homeschool. And it's noteworthy also that you can see the agenda, because I think it was Harvard were planning an anti-homeschooling conference. They didn't title it that. It was something about the dangers of it or something. Due to pressure, they had to cancel it. But you can see the agenda, right? You can see the agenda. Oh, and this is where the money's gone, right? What kind of teacher would want to be involved in anything related to the plans? What kind of teacher? And anyway, you watch the video, because it's clear government is torturing the children as most people sit on their asses and do nothing. So much for progress. Just watch this girl talking and crying about what the government has done to the school system, and the girl understands. And they're supposedly adults, supposedly adults, like those supposed like health ministers in different countries. Have you seen those memes going around where they have pictures of the health ministers, and they all look like the unhealthiest people you've ever seen? It's pretty scary. Anyway, lots of rallying cries put out there by good people doing good things. Bibatanya points out what should be obvious, that it's all a scam. Note that the virus can travel 4 feet but not 7 feet. It does not survive on Amazon packages or supermarket shopping, but does survive on beaches and playground swings. It's highly contagious in small businesses but not in big stores. It's also more contagious on a shopping basket than a shopping trolley. Clever virus, right? I mean, once you get your head around the mind fuck that's happening, it's obvious, right? It's obvious what's going on. They sent contaminated tests to every country to infect people. It's biological warfare. Media's on board, like every newspaper every day is printing the same story from a different perspective to a certain extent. They got 95% with one agenda, and they've got 5% just to appease people as well. And that's their get out clause as well. We did print something, blah, blah, blah. Yep, and it's worth pointing out that all this random pieces of information, there's no real post-mortems done on the dead bodies. Deaths are presumed COVID. The SAGE documents have been covered up. Vaccines are basically a for-profit scam. The fact that this has all been planned out in advance, and the scam is crazy because the government's going to be charged £477 per vaccine. And they want everyone to be injected, so that's £477 times 66 million, which is, I don't even know how big that number is. It's 314,820,000 pounds. What's that? It's £3 billion, something like that, from the UK alone. Hurrah! And of course, Bill Gates is not in this for a profit, right? Psychopath, complete psychopath. Meanwhile, the insane are using the blind to lead the stupid. Celebrities really are just like us. Dun, dun, dun. Of course, they're not. Yeah. It's interesting that this, this news report uses an old picture of a film star actress. Not gonna name her. Because they can't use a new one because everyone is screwed up, right? Because they've all been on the wrong drugs and taken injections and had their little bits of surgery, right? And they all look like they should be in a cage in a circus. Anyway, these celebrities are now allowing the government to take over their social media feeds. You can see where the plan's been all along. It's been the plan to do this all along, and spread, disseminate their information to the masses. Basically, continue the brainwashing process. So the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, Dr. Anthony Fauci, has teamed up with actors Julia Roberts, Hugh Jackman, Millie Bobby Brown, I have no idea who that is, and other self-aware A-listers for the Pass the Mic campaign, which allows government to take over celebrities' Instagram feeds, as if the celebrities were actually running their own feeds anyway. I know one or two here or there do, but it was never about that, really. It was never about that at all. It was all about the agenda. And of course they want to keep their jobs and their salaries and their places and their positions in society, and they want to keep their rewards. They don't want to be ruined by the media, because that's the alternative that's going to happen, which is like, well, if you don't support us, we'll just print something in the media about you, and that'll be the end of your career, right? Oh, I'm sorry, we can't work with you anymore because of the negative publicity. Anyway, that's how it works, right? That's how it works. So I've been reposting a lot of text that other people have been writing recently, because other people are more eloquent than me. Here's something written by the fine gentleman Stephen Donovan. Let's just imagine for a moment that curing an illness that is less deadly than the flu was not as important as, and this is basically what's happened: 1, increasing sickness, thereby increasing the pharmaceutical consumption; 2, creating a panopticon society ruled by an accountability-free group of billionaires; 3, reducing the global population in an era of automation and digitalization; 4, destroying education, which historically has offered the best opportunity for social mobility; 5, destroying travel to limit both educational awareness of and solidarity with other cultures and facilitate social identity manipulation; 6, promote sterilization, thereby contributing to population control. So it's all been about controlling people. All the time, all along. Please keep in mind that coronaviruses have been the single most widely studied and genetically modified of all viruses, and one of the earliest identified in the 1930s, but it was presented to you as something new. And also please note that the Rockefeller family and its institutions were among the leading proponents of eugenics and financiers of Hitler's rise to power, implementing the doctrine of positive eugenics or active murder. And the same Rockefeller Foundation scripted this Operation Lockstep in 2010. Dun, dun, dun. And all the films were preparing you for it as well. Remember, Bill Gates funded his own little documentaries about himself. Little genius boy that he is, buying everything that he can with his parents' money. Anyway, please recognize that for over 30 years, the marriage between Big Pharma and the political establishment resulted in a legal liability-free vaccine regime that has moved the rate of autism but not including the boom in other childhood diseases from 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 33 within my lifetime. It's higher now in some places. A relationship that is still unacknowledged by the keepers of the faith, thus neurologically compromising and destroying hundreds of billions of children globally and implementing these liability-free regimes globally. But yet you think they give a fuck about you. That you're held hostage in your home, prevented from working for your own benefit, for the benefit of your children, most of whom are probably already taking mood or mind-altering pharmaceuticals from the government or some other kind of pills, and you've got no idea what's in them, and they will all be further conditioned to be mindless slaves under the social distancing guidelines once again for their own safety. For years, I, Stephen, have written that the US is an uninhabitable dystopia, but it's getting even more uninhabitable and a greater dystopia. The eugenics experiment is being played out there without restriction because of its high technological development in the sphere of surveillance capitalism and its large outgroup population, historically targeted by the eugenicists. And now the in-group members are slowly coming to the realization that their in-group features won't spare them from the imminent catastrophe. You collectively better resist. That's the solution. You collectively better resist, because no matter how bad it gets in the rest of the world, it'll be worse in the US. You have one amendment left. It's the break the glass in the case of emergency amendment, and you are there now. Do not say that you were not warned. Signed, Stephen Donovan. Boom. Yep. Time is precious. Time is all we have, and it's limited. And each relationship is a relationship with time. So you've got to move at the right time in the right way. If you're watching the video version, you can see a picture that I took the other day. I was down at the harbour when I discovered these steps leading basically up to nothing, and you know the contradiction of steps leading nowhere and the sign next to it, which said "Do not walk along the wall," was a kind of ominous warning about life, really. You know that you got to watch where you're going, right? Because some paths do lead you nowhere. But you've still got to do something, right? Because the most inhibiting action is an inaction. So we need to communicate, and the barriers to communication are what are going up now. The barriers to gatherings as well. That's what's happening right now. They're you know, if you can't see the walls being put up around about you, if you can't see yourself putting up your own walls, then heaven help us all. NBCnews.com reported almost 40 million people have now claimed unemployment benefits in the US for the first time. Article reads, another 2.44 million Americans filed for initial unemployment benefits last week, bringing the total number of people who lost their jobs so far during the coronavirus pandemic to almost 40 million. The weekly figures released Thursday by the Department of Labor came amid a slew of bankruptcies and as more companies announced layoffs. While the month of May still represents a staggering total of job losses, the number of unemployment benefit claims has been in gradual decline after hitting a peak of 6.8 million for the week ending March the 28th. Continuing claims, or the number of people who are still filing for ongoing weekly benefits, is now at 25 million people, having hit a record of 22.8 million for the week ending May the 2nd. It's just you might just draw a line going straight up, basically. Ways out of it, you know. Find the information that resonates with you. Find the answers that resonate with you. Check out hashtag LondonRealArmy.com, LondonReal.tv. Check out the interviews, the roundtables, the discussions. Meet like-minded people. You know, just reach out and connect while you can, because these opportunities are going to be, they're going to get narrower and narrower, and narrower until all you're going to be able to do is parrot the same as everybody else. And if you can, take time to get away from all of this. Take time to get out of the cities, get out of the towns, get out into the countryside. Then you realize, the true madness of things. When you get away from society and get a chance to, collect your thoughts together and get away from the nonsense, then you realize how nothing really has changed. You're just being manipulated to believe that things are different. You're being manipulated by the news, which is basically an owned extension of the government. Look into the histories, look into the ministries of information. Yeah. And then the media is just not asking the right questions either. I mean, how many countries got sent contaminated C19 test kits? The UK got sent contaminated, giving people the virus. The UK, and then the government used the kits, giving people the virus. The UK, Spain, Canada, USA. That's just the tip of the iceberg. You can find most European countries got sent them as well. Luckily, in a lot of places, the kits were tested and found to be contaminated. So, it's a story that's just being swept under the rug. Postmillennial.com reported an estimated 300,000 contaminated Chinese coronavirus test kits were distributed across Canada. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. It sounds orchestrated to me. I mean, if you ask me, it sounds orchestrated, right? It sounds like it was a plan. That's the same thing happening everywhere is a plan if it involves human interaction to a greater extent. I mean, don't you think? I don't know. I don't think that chance happens very often, and luck is still a result of putting yourself in the right place at the right time. At least that's what I think. Anyway, according to recent data, people with severe COVID-19 are more likely to have vitamin D deficiency. Oh, I wonder why it's called corona virus. Corona, that ring, that crown, that sun. Not enough sunlight. Dr. Dale Bratzler with OU Medicine said this data comes from his observational studies, and the research is still too new to make any solid statements of benefits of vitamin D. You don't need to be a scientist to work this one out. The risk of severe C19 in patients with vitamin D deficiency was about 8 times higher than with normal vitamin D levels. Yep. There are currently no studies at this point to say that if we give vitamin D, we can prevent severe COVID-19. Yeah, it's a bit like saying that, giving vitamin D will prevent you having a severe car accident, right? We don't know what else might be going on in these patients that might have caused their vitamin D levels to drop dramatically. Well, probably being stuck inside hasn't helped, right? Lack of exercise hasn't helped. Not getting out to meet people hasn't helped. Research has proven, because sometimes work is the only thing that gets people out, right? However, other research has proven vitamin D supplements to be beneficial to the immune system. You don't say. It's one of the fundamental things you need. If you don't have vitamin D, you die, right? Let me repeat that. If you don't have vitamin D, you die. It's that simple. It's that simple. Go and read some papers. Go and read some reports. That's not, conspiracy, right? Meanwhile, if you've got a MasterCard, you might as well take it out of your wallet now and cut it into little pieces, because MasterCard will not send staff back to offices without coronavirus vaccination. They love you so much they want to inject you with untested or unverified chemicals. and you will obey or be economically destroyed, which is essentially way too much power, in my opinion. Why not give people a choice? If you have two people, A and B, if A gets vaccinated, then A's safe, right? Then A's safe. Of course, it's not natural, so they're not really safe. Okay, so yeah, they'll try to screw you 7 ways to Sunday. And you know what happens now is the modern vaccines are not the same as the old vaccines. The modern vaccines, they fuck with your RNA, your DNA, and yeah, they mess up the future. I mean, the once those changes begin to take place, once those mutations begin to take place, the human body is just like being it's just like an experimental testing ground for these new drugs. It's these tests should be being done on another planet, not this one, right? Not this one. But don't worry, you won't realize that until it's too late, because you will be conditioned by the media, constantly pumping out the same message everywhere that this is okay, this is safe, this is what we need, this is what everybody wants, this is the new normal, this is the new normal, it's the new normal, the new normal, the new normal, the new normal this morning, the new normal this afternoon, the new normal this evening, this is the new normal. Well, you can keep your bloody new order, can't you? You can keep your bloody new normal, right? I was happy with the old normal. The mainstream media, you're not pulling the wool over everybody's eyes, right? You're not. Yeah, you can't fool all of the people all of the time. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. But I know you're pumping out, the media's pumping out that message. Obey, trust, believe in us, right? Right. As Stephen Donovan points out again, no, it was not an error. Everything was designed to be exactly like it is. To economically destroy you, control you, terrorize you, propagandize you, and tag you, and trace you, and track you like some fucking zoo animal. It's intimidation, followed by isolation, and then elimination. Let me repeat that. It's intimidation, followed by isolation, followed by elimination. Elimination, right? That's the end game. That's the end game. Elimination. Are you awake yet? Hello. Are you ready? Welcome to your new prison. Welcome to your new prison of social, physical. Can't spell that word, can I? Look on the screen. Physical. Excuse me. Oh dear, I'm feeling so sick now. It's just a little cough, don't worry. Just choked on myself now. Right. Don't worry. Oh, no, can't go outside now. 2 meters distance. Oh my gosh. C19. Oh, get the test kits out. Oh. Call the contract tracers. Get the drones. Strike, strike, strike now. Take them away. Dissenter, dissenter. No, do not resist. Resistance is futile. Right. Welcome to your new prison of social, psychological, and physical abuse. The end game. Here we go. The CDC guidelines for reopening schools. All children over the age of 2 must wear masks. There will be no sharing of any items or supplies. All belongings will be kept in individual cubbies or labelled containers. There will be no sharing of electronic devices, toys, games, learning aids, or information. The desks will be 6 feet apart. They will all be facing the same way, just like in a prison. Every class will be treated like a test. And you will be tested on a regular basis. Distances on school bus will be 1 child per seat. You will skip rows because that's economically practical. You must install sneeze guards and partitions wherever you cannot space 6 feet apart. So yeah, why not just have us in bubbles walking around. You will not be allowed to touch anyone ever again. This is the end of all sports, except tennis, right, where you won't be able to pick up the ball even. One one-way routes, and there'll be one-way routes, and the education will just be like a one-way route to hell. Basically, there'll be tape on the sidewalks and the walls, and there'll be messages on the doors, and everything will be to remind you to obey the rules, obey government, and you'll be severely punished if you don't. There will be no communal shared spaces, no cafeterias, no playgrounds, no fun whatsoever. There'll be physical barriers or screens between sinks and in bathrooms. There will be only pre-packaged boxes or bags of food instead of cafeteria food, and because this is how we protect the children. Just turning school into a giant fucking laboratory, basically. Children will have to eat in classrooms. There'll be no field trips, no assemblies, no external organization in schools, no actual real education at all. There'll be a limit to volunteers and visitors, just like in prisons. Same children stay with the same staff all day, no switching groups or teachers, because then you might exchange information about what's happening. And heaven forbid that something negative should happen, you won't be able to communicate to anybody about it. There will be a staggering of arrival and departure times for kids to limit exposure to crowds, because crowds are dangerous. If possible, there'll be daily health and temperature checks. You'll just be monitored 24/7. You'll probably get you to wear a bracelet or some fucking head, I don't know, some kind of helmet or something. I don't know. Actually, you've seen it. They got them in the Chinese schools where they wear this thing around their head, which tells you what's happening in their brains, right? Madness. And of course, there will be no rules about cleaning and disinfecting thoroughly throughout the day. You will have to wash your hands again and again and again, like some obsessive, compulsive person. So, yay. Great. Well done, society. How's it going? Enjoying the prison you built for yourself? Keep grinding away. Don't change anything. Keep digging the grave. Remember, no freedom means... I don't know what slogan they're going to come up with. It's some Orwellian thing where freedom equals prison, or it's gonna be more oxymoronic than that, isn't it? It's gonna be stay safe, stay away, or don't communicate. Have you seen the media reports now where talking is bad because the virus might come out of your mouth or something, or you should talk quietly and not loudly, right? That's just everything that's anti-human. It's just an anti-human agenda. Because the truth is that without freedom, we don't have anything. Nothing means anything without freedom. Really, it doesn't. Unless you have the freedom to say no and without harm, you don't have any freedom at all. You don't have any freedom at all. And as if like diseases listen to science, right? It's completely insane. Life is risk, right? As I pointed out at the beginning. Yeah, you've got to let things be. You've got to let people be. You've got to let the world be. Don't fuck with it. God didn't make a mistake, right? And at an individual level, the chances of dying of coronavirus are very low. Over the whole try again. Rewind. Can't make a rewind noise. Sorry about that. Over the whole epidemic, even if there is no vaccine, a high proportion of people will not get it. And it's got these asymptomatic situations where everyone tests positives, but nobody's sick. Of those who do, a significant proportion have no symptoms. Of those who do test positive, of the symptomatic cases, a great majority have only a mild or moderate form of the disease. A lot of the sickness, again, is in old people. Go and look at those statistics. I've been through them before. Minority of people have to go to hospital, but most only need oxygen. A great majority of these survive if they're treated correctly, right? And of course, all the good treatments are being removed from the internet. You need to get zinc. You need to zinc can be pushed into the body through hydroxychloroquine in the right levels at the right amounts. Um, don't take it from me. Go and get that advice from a doctor. Um, a minority of people will need will need ventilation and in severe cases, and of course, even old folks, if they have enough of the right vitamins and minerals within their body, are able to fight this off. And saying fight it off is a pretty good term to use, because we're in a war here, uh, a psychological war, a 21st century mind game war, and we're right in the middle of it. It's happening not just right in front of our eyes, it's happening to us. And to help us realize this, it helped me realize it when I got out of town for a couple of days this week, right? Got out by myself, took my exercise, went off down the river, in the forest, whatever, and you take time to gather your thoughts and think coherently about what is happening. And realize that this just insanity is the new reality. Like in parks now, they're marking out these special areas in parks, and people are not allowed to go outside of this circle. It's extreme mental conditioning. It will cause society to break down. You can see it happening already. That the mind that has the human mind that's created these great advances in human history is under attack. Because to make things better, you've got to believe that the infinite is possible. And every rule, every order, every newspaper article, every TV program is reinforcing the fact that you have no choice, you have no chance, submit to us. And it's crazy, because fresh air and sunlight, if you get out, they will heal most simple ailments. Add to that the nutrition that you need, and all of this together is going to help you de-stress from the toxic environments and the toxic world that we live in. And we live in a crazy toxic world, right? Just going into the local town here and seeing the fast food places, yeah, and seeing how many people in their cars queue up, and the cars are sort of stacked up and backed up around the buildings. Just people waiting for something that's not going to help them, and paying for it as well. I mean, it's just human society has a great history, especially in the West, of paying for our own poisons, sadly. And we've got to wake up. We've got to stay focused, right? Knowing that the energy flows where the focus goes, but so does time. Knowing that now is the time to do something. Now is the time to act. Because this is just the first turning of the screw, or the first hammer of the nail. It's going to continue. And when it happens to the big names and the influential people that you see out there around about you, don't think it's not going to happen to you, because once the greater good influences are gone, that's it, right? That's it. Like the links that I post that don't appear, it's a sign. We're in the time We're in the time, right? And there's no point. There's not much point arguing back directly to these people. You've got to argue back indirectly. You've got to build your own systems, right? You've got to work for yourself. Even if that means working for other people, you've still got to work for yourself, right? You've got to build your own dream. You've got to build even if you're building someone else's dream, you've got to still build your own dream within that. Yeah. Florida Today reports scientist fired for refusing to manipulate C19 data. Interesting story. Do you know it? Sometimes it's unclear whether people are manipulating in a helpful or unhelpful way. The point being, it's always unhelpful at the end of the day, right? Even it's never right. It's never right to do the wrong thing to get something right. I hammer that into people's heads. It's never right to do the wrong thing to get something right. There's no shortcuts, right? There's no shortcuts. It's all a long, hard road. Here's a report. corvela.it. Blood tests in Japan reveal coronavirus mortality is lower than influenza. Lower than influenza. Yeah. But don't let that stop your social controllers who are telling you that to go back and work, to go outside in the sun is going to kill you. Don't go out of the country. Don't go anywhere. Don't stick your head out of the window. Oh my God, no. Fresh air. Fresh air will be bad. You know, there was a sort of point in time at the beginning of this ridiculousness where I was thinking maybe there's something that we don't know, right? Maybe I'm going to give people the benefit of the doubt because, you know, it's I don't know everything, and, you know, maybe there is a greater good. And all that's happened as time has gone on is my faith in the system has been eroded down to the point where that zero faith, right? I've got faith in me, the people around about me, the people I know. Beyond that, the man upstairs, right? I've got faith in the man upstairs. Because you have to have faith in something greater, because if not, man is God. And man makes a terrible God, right? Man makes a terrible God. Every time. VACCINEIMPACT.com. Did a military experimental vaccine in 1918 kill 50 to 100 million people? Was it renamed the Spanish flu? No. I thought the story was a bit crazy, but when you encounter nothing but evidence, you're forced to reevaluate reality, and there is overwhelming evidence that what is happening today happened in almost exactly the same way 100 years ago. This is nothing new. You know how they say there's nothing new under the sun? Might be true. Might actually be true. The Spanish flu was the result of a Rockefeller Institute vaccine grown in horse tissue. It was in fact horse pneumonia. This was made more deadly by the recent synthesis of paracetamol produced by Bayers and prescribed in massive doses, which did alleviate the symptoms but ensure death. It appears to have been a population cull originating from certain families as they owned certain companies. But another damning piece of evidence is how this fact has been hidden, and the true cause of the epidemic actually the vaccines has been quietly brushed under the carpet. And what happened was that the soldiers were given experimental vaccines that made them sick, that they then transmitted to other people. Boom. Scary, huh? And if you look at what happened in China, the origin of the virus, if you look at what happened in that city in the months leading up to the end of last year, you will see there was quite a bit of military action there. Now, I don't know what happened now, but I can tell you that the so-called Spanish flu is not what they tell you. It's not. Right. And then if you realize that a lot of the scientific discoveries that we needed to make didn't happen until sort of way after that 1930s, 1940s, then you realize that they probably didn't really know what they were doing, or a lot of people didn't know what they were doing at that time. Right? At that time. There's a great underground website online called Whale. I think it's whale.to. Not exactly sure. That has years. I remember finding the site like 15. I'm sure it was like about 15 years ago. I came across the site and I was like, wow, what an incredible archive of data and stories and information. And then it sort of jumped off my radar for quite a while. And then came back again last week and I was like, wow. And the thing is that sometimes you have to know exactly, here's the thing with the internet. I know you know this. Sometimes you have to know exactly where to look. Because if you don't know exactly where to look, and I found this information by remembering there was a website and typing in not just Google searches, but in the search at the top, I was just like ./A/B/C. I spent like a good 15 minutes because you can't, because if you just put in the basic search term and look for it, it'll say site not available, right? So you know there's wayback machines and backdoors on the internet, so it's worth making an effort to find specific information because it's all out there. If you're watching the video version, what I'm talking about is these sites that you can see. You want to youtube.com symbiosis or parasitism. You want www.whale.to/c/bayer, and I think that all of the main information is www.whale.to/b. I think that's where the repository is. If you can't find it, send me a message and I will get that out to you. There we go. Yeah, there it is. www.whale.to/b/. You know, it's a rabbit hole. It's a whole interconnected series of rabbit holes, basically. And that's the foundation of the problem that we have to deal with today. And one of my big issues with what we have to deal with right now is something I think that's a little bit less obvious, that I haven't heard a lot of other people talk about. It's the relatively worrying scenario that so many people are right now having to hide a lot of their activities from the general public, from other people, for fear of some kind of insane response to what would otherwise be a completely normal activity, right? Oh my gosh, can't get too close. Oh my gosh, there's kids playing in the park. Oh my gosh, right? oh my gosh, I can't visit you because somebody might report me for visiting you, right? Do you think at the higher levels of society these people are following these rules? Well, they're not. You've seen Neil Ferguson from Imperial College, right? Didn't follow his own lockdown rules. Scottish Health Minister didn't follow our own lockdown rules, right? You, you, and if it was serious, these people would be following the rules, right? 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 Don't you know? I don't know. How's it going where you are? Right? Is it okay? Is your family okay? I talked about the kids. What is this doing to the old people? Right? What is this doing to the old people? We've got to be intelligent about our responses. And these so-called educated people in power right now, well, there's a difference between education and intelligence. There's a difference between education and intelligence. And if we don't act now, if we're not careful now, I will tell you exactly where this is going. Because right now, what's being recommended by the experts is permanent fascism. It's permanent fascism. Permanent. Unless you say no. And it will probably require more than words, right? Recommended by governments, recommended to governments worldwide by major international health organizations is a lockdown rollover of 50 days on and 30 days off. This should be introduced until 2022, say British scientists. An alternating 80-day cycle will reduce the number of COVID-19 deaths and admissions to intensive care units, according to new research. Month-long intervals of relaxed social distancing would be followed by much more austere measures, lasting almost twice as long. The strategy is based on mathematical formulas using data from 16 countries and applies to the UK. Yes, we're going to use data to control you. And you will be trained, just like Pavlov's dog, to respond in exactly the right way. This article came from mirror.co.uk. Can't make it up. Can't make it up. This is our reality, right? This is our reality. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the time is now. The time is now. Stand up. Fight back in a peaceful manner. Resist while you can resist. Because if it gets to a point where you can't resist, it's over. You understand? Over. It's done. Toast. It's toast. My name's G. I represent the Academy. Wherever you are, stay safe, stay healthy, look after the people around about you. Take care. And don't forget to tell the ones you love that you love them. Feel free to send me articles, information, reach out, contact. More soon.